Today I'd like to talk about studying the shaman. Many of you may know more than myself, but if you build your own dojo and you decorate it the way you feel it should be decorated, so it becomes a very personal thing. It's a place of sanctuary for yourself, and I know that teachers that have a permanent dojo with a designated shaman find it the place where they centre their self, and perhaps you could say find out who they are in the quiet times when they sit on their own. In 1992, I was fortunate enough to have Shihan come to the UK, and as she is fluent in Japanese, as well as offered her time in those days as a Japanese translator into English, she also knew the special ceremony that had to take place if you have a Shinto house, such as I do here in the dojo. The Shinto house is, in many houses in Japan, it's the Shinto religion that I do not follow myself, but many Japanese do. And like people that meditate in their own homes, they may find a small space where they make a small shrine and put joss sticks and things that they like to centre their self, and they may meditate each morning or evening in front of their designated, I think we can say, altar. I personally don't follow or believe in any one religion. Therefore, it's a little bit odd that I'm going to explain the system. I first wanted the house really just for being more authentic and following in the Japanese system, such as Sensei in Iwama built his shaman, and he would pray to the gods each day and chant, and he was a very religious person. And he said that to bring heaven and earth together, you need the help from the kame, the gods. So I would like to go from Sensei's picture that was drawn specifically for myself. So if you see it anywhere else in the world, I have the original, and it was designed and drawn by Jan Hardy, one of the Aikidoka, who's still training today. So I'm very honoured to have such a beautiful drawing. Below it is a bronze bell. I use the bell purposely before I start meditation, but you can use it to awaken the gods. So if I was to take the bell and the small striker next to it, resting at the moment in its tray, and if I was sitting on the stool that is there on the ground, on the mat, I would ring the bell 3 times, and I've no idea why, but I ring it slightly louder by hitting it firmer each time. And as the bell resonates, I think of sinking down and down inside myself as the waves fade. It vibrates the inner body and not just listening to the ring with the ears. So I use it personally as a combination of going deeper into what I call the trance state. I have a crystal next to this, nothing to do with Aikido, but I like the crystal side. So you find that objects that you have on your shomen are normally gifts if they're not part of the standard Shinto setup. The Buddha was given to me by an Aikido student, and so were the small sake bottles in the triangular below. Moving over to the centre, the main one, you can see the house. The candles were given to me by another Aikidoka, a teacher from Scotland. They're very beautiful. And I light them occasionally if I'm going to do something serious or award people with their downgrade certificates. And I do a special ceremony. So, the house, I'll say the house rather than the Japanese names, come in all different sizes, as I said, and people in Japan make a small shrine in their house where the same setup is as you'll see there. And this is where they would say their prayers or pray to the gods to help them in their daily life. You'll notice that the 2 vases either side, and below in the triangle there's pots, and you would have salt, rice. I can't remember what's in the middle one, but everything you see is part of the ceremony that you take when you purchase one of these new kodamas, I think they're called, houses, and they come in all different sizes and shapes. You would have it blessed, such as I had it blessed by Sensei Hendricks, and from then on the house must never touch the earth. You must always keep it above the floor. You must not put it on the floor. And this is the tradition once it's been blessed. The silver disc in front of the main doorway is to ward off evil spirits away from the gods. Some have a very small house with one door, and this means that you would have the one kame in there, the one god. If in this case you have 3 doors, it can house 3 gods. I'll go on to talk about the effects and the value that I see in this system. And as I repeat, I don't follow religion, Shinto or otherwise, personally, but I do have superstitions, not so many, and I do have my beliefs, what will be covered in another film. At the back of the bottom triangle, there's a small geisha girl, and this was again given to me by a very dear friend, a lady that has now passed on to the spirit world, and I keep it for remembering her and the warmth that she would give to others. Passing over to the next triangle and shelf, you'll notice that the square with the flat top that is next to the weapon scrolls. This you put the fruit on when you're doing the ceremonies, and if you look up Saito Sensei's wake, when he passed away, you will see all of this in action. Or you can just look up Shinto traditions and ceremonies, and you will see the Shinto monks carrying out with massive ones of these, with fruit and an abundance of things being offered up to the gods. And a ceremony was done, and it was paid for by people around the world in hopes that they could move Osensei from a normal being to become like I'll use the word martyr, a higher place in the spirit world. Whether that happened or not, it's up to each of us to believe it or not to believe it. But there was a special ceremony done to try and raise him to a higher vibration and a higher spiritual plane. There may be a ceremony somewhere on YouTube. I've no idea, I've never found it. Going on to the scrolls, you'll notice there's 4 there, and below them is a live blade, a tanto, that again was a gift from a student. I was awarded the 5th scroll, paid for it, but we were close to going on a seminar, and Sensei said he was very tired and could he send me it. I agreed, thanked him, and the 5th is the highest level, but sadly I never got it. And you may not believe this, but even being an adult in front of Saito Sensei, I felt like a small child, even though I was an adult. And in 1994, I still couldn't ask him, where is my certificate? I wish I had it done, but that's past now. But I do hold all 5 and have witnesses that were there at the time on my obtaining them. Below it is another gift from a Russian student, and it has green tea in it, the little white pot. Next to it is a book that I used to take with me around the world, and I would see Saito Sensei twice a year for 19 years at different places in the world, and when something struck me as an important thing to note, I would write notes in this book, just to find that when I come home I didn't know what I'd written down because I couldn't understand it. Some things I can, and some things in that book I can't. Of course, the gift again at the end is from another, the rolling down banner, gift from another very close student of mine. The weapons are new, but I do also have the Kenenjo still that in 1983 Saito Sensei chose for me, that were handmade in Iwama, but they're not on I place the meditation stool there for the next part of the film. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found it of worth.